Hey everyone, Patrick CK here with a follow-up to my review of the ASUS RT-ACRH13 dual band AC1300 Wi-Fi wireless router. For simplicity's sake, I'm just going to call it the AC1300 for the rest of the video. I wanted to make this video because there are plenty of times when I've watched my favorite YouTubers do an unboxing and review of a new product, only to think, what would it actually be like to use and rely on this thing for 3 months or 3 years? Rarely does anyone follow up with their review unless something went wrong, which is totally understandable. They don't have time to do year-long reviews of products with new stuff coming out every day. Luckily though, I do and have. Now I can give an overarching review of the AC1300's reliability, performance, and ease of use. I also want to answer a few questions that have been asked over the last year by users in the comments below and over on my website, the1ck.com. If you haven't seen my original review video, there will be a link to it below. So let's get started with the simple fact that this little workhorse has yet to let me down. Other than my power actually being knocked out for 3 days straight, I've had 100% uptime. I can't say I'm too surprised, but I have had Netgear equipment that needed constant resetting in the past. So good marks on reliability there. As for performance, I haven't seen any degradation whatsoever. Up until I made an ISP switch, I was getting 90 megabits down on both the wired and AC wireless sides of the fence, which was the planned speed. Now with my new ISP, I get 55 megabits. Again, the planned speed, but soon, hopefully, I'll get my fiber link set up so that I can show some real impressive numbers. Within the home network, the AC1300 shined once again, retrieving files from network computers or storage devices at speeds in excess of 900 megabits per second, which means transferring a 2 GB video only takes 16 seconds. This is why you want to upgrade an old router even if you have a low-speed internet plan. Your home network will benefit, with the caveat that your computers actually have at least a gigabit network port. My experience working within the ASUS router interface has been nothing but a breeze. Updating the firmware, viewing a list of connected network users, and even limiting speeds for those users is incredibly easy. There is no substitute for a good user experience, and ASUS has definitely delivered. It's no wonder this router is still $70 a year later. With that said, I did run into 2 issues that stood out to me. For one, when multiple devices are connected, this thing can get pretty toasty, so keeping the router in a closed utility closet may not be the best choice. More annoyingly, several times I couldn't find a device in the router interface that I knew was connected to the Wi-Fi network. I've yet to figure out why this specific device, an LG smartphone, was not showing up. So anyway, that's the quick and dirty of it. I'd still highly recommend AC1300 if you're looking for a new, good, and affordable router. A link to buy the AC1300 on Amazon will be in the description. Now, in the time since my review, I've been asked a good number of questions about this router, and I wanted to cover the ones I thought would be the most helpful for those of you still weighing your options. Let's start with a simple one. Can you remove the antennas? The short answer is no. They definitely designed it not to be easy without a hammer, and I honestly wouldn't recommend it. Where do they get the 1300 speed rating from? This is a little bit of a marketing gimmick that manufacturers do now to boost their speed rating. In the AC1300's case, all they do is add the speed of the 5 GHz band, which is 867 megabits on this router, and the 2.4 GHz band, which is 400 megabits. That gets you to 1267, rounded up because why not, and you get your 1300. Just to be clear, you will never get 1300 megabits on this router. And honestly, you won't on any other router, even if they claim a 3900 speed rating. It's all smoke and mirrors. And yes, the theoretical max for AC wireless is 1300 megabits, but they capped the 5 GHz band to 867 on this device so that it wouldn't conflict with the next router in this lineup, the AC1750. What's the difference between this router and the AC58U? This took me a while to figure out, and as far as I can tell, nothing important enough to give it its own SKU. I took the full spec sheet from ASUS's website and put them side by side because the ASUS compare tool didn't let me compare the two for some reason. And the only difference according to the spec sheet is that the AC1300 doesn't have AI disk file server manager, which doesn't appear to be right because I have the option right here. So yeah, I don't see a difference between them. You can see the side-by-side comparison chart I made in the link below. I have a 10 megabit cap connection, so using a router with max speeds of 1300 megabits or more would make no difference in my internet speed, right? Unfortunately, that's correct. It won't help you exceed your cap connection from your provider, but there are other benefits to simply having more modern equipment, like better security, more network management options, and a more efficient allocation of the bandwidth that you do get thanks to features like mu-mimo, which basically allows the router to communicate to multiple supported devices simultaneously. What's the difference in range between the 2.4 GHz band and the 5 GHz band? While the 5 GHz band can carry more data at faster speeds, the higher frequency means it gets impeded by physical barriers easier than the lower frequency bands. So in many instances, you do get better range on the 2.4 GHz frequency. I've seen comparisons with 2.4 GHz having almost a 50% better range inside a typical home compared to its 5 GHz counterpart. This of course will depend on a host of factors like what your house's layout is and all the other electronic devices that interfere with Wi-Fi signals like microwave ovens. I have a modem with an integrated router and Wi-Fi from my ISP. Should I still buy a separate Wi-Fi router? Honestly, I would, mostly because the modem router combos that ISPs provide are usually provided by the lowest bidder. Some are good enough, but if you have multiple devices like game consoles, whether they're hardwired or not, and other Wi-Fi equipment that support the AC standard, you'll want to take advantage of having an independent router with a 2x2 or more antenna setup. You'll get better and more consistent connection across all your devices, again thanks to features like mu-mimo. It's the best setup in the long run and one I've been using for a very long time. Why is this an upgrade if people have gigabit speed anyway? Well, for one, people still have routers with max speeds of 100 megabits per second. Heck, they're still selling the decades-old Linksys WRT54GL for $67, and people still buy it. Secondly, even as gigabit speed fiber connections have become more ubiquitous, you still have to consider that even now, the average global broadband speed is only 7.2 megabits per second. And even in countries who are known for their modern bleeding edge internet infrastructure like South Korea, the average is a mere 28.6 megabits per second, compared to a dismal 18.7 megabits per second in the US. So even having a 90 megabit per second connection is a luxury. And don't get me started with the fact that if some political leaders have their way, the definition of broadband in the US will be lowered from the current 25 megabits per second benchmark to just 10. I mean, really, freaking 10. But I digress. A link to the map of the internet speeds by country will be in the description. That covers the most important questions from the last year. But if you peeps have any other questions about this router, do not hesitate to leave a comment below. I still believe this is a great router for most households, and I'll be using mine for the foreseeable future. Again, a link to buy the AC1300 on Amazon will be in the description. Well, this has been Patrick CK. Like and share if you enjoyed this content. Subscribe to get more videos when they come out, and hope to see you all next time. Thanks everyone.